You're inside the press box. Christian FM Sports presents Inside the Press Box, where we discuss all sports from our favorite high school team to college and pro. Here's your hosts, Paul Tipton and Gary Paris.
Hey, Vero Nation. It's so good to be back inside the press box and getting ready for another season of Fighting Indians football. I'm Paul Tipton. The guy on the other side is Gary Paris, GP. We've had our off season to kind of think and ponder about what could have happened, what maybe should have happened. And now we're getting ready to start the new season. It's good to be back.
It is, Paul, and it is great to be back. This is exciting for us because expectations last year, we weren't sure. We had so many young ball players, and we started off with 3 straight losses, and we didn't rattle off 8 straight wins before we lost in the final. But the thing about it is, last year, we weren't sure what we really had.
Yeah.
This year, we know the talent level we have.
Yeah, we do. And, boy, we'll get into the kind of the nuts and bolts of what this team can look like here in just a minute. You know, the last time that we saw Vero Beach in a meaningful game, it was the 3rd round of the playoffs. You know, if you've been a long-time Vero fan, that just kind of seems to be that kind of hurdle that we've had a struggle getting over. Only a few times have we ever gotten past that 3rd round in the history of the program. We went to Orlando, familiar foe, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Phillips got out to an early lead in that first half. Gary, Indians came back, a real hard-fought ball game. They really put a good effort in that second half, but might have been just too much of a hole to climb out of from what happened in the first half to what ended up at the end of the game.
The thing that I was so proud of the Indians in that game was the adjustments made at halftime.
Yeah.
You're down 21-0.
Mm-hmm.
And you come back and you get 2 touchdowns and a shot.
Yeah.
At tying or winning the game.
Yeah. And shut out your opponent for the second half.
Shut out your opponent the second half.
Yeah.
That's what I was so proud of that team, was they kept the fight going. They didn't quit. They got behind. They're young kids. You know, there were a ton of freshmen and sophomores and juniors playing that game that are back this year.
Yeah.
So the excitement of after the season wasn't, wow, we let one. No, I'm thinking, wow, this is just the beginning. Can you imagine what this program's going to be like in the next season, and this, which is this year and next year? There's a tremendous upbeat around Vero Beach High.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, Gary, it's we've talked about this on numerous seasons now with how the rules and the policies have evolved to where we are now with open enrollment. Now, this isn't a situation of like, boy, you better hope you're senior heavy and you got your shot, to really go after it this year. Now, things are changed. The landscape's really changed, Gary, to where you can reload pretty easy now because of open enrollment. And a lot of guys are transferring to different schools through the course of the year, and Vero's no exception to that. So, you especially like we knew coming into this offseason, like, okay, we had a lot of great talent on an offense. They're all pretty much coming back. But boy, that defense, man, there's a lot of seniors on that defense. You know, you start with your leading tackler, TJ Alford, who went off to Ohio State, and congratulations to him. And you got Afion Rivers, and you got guys like Deuce Montgomery that, were anchors on that defense. They've graduated. How do you fill those holes? The answer, open enrollment.
Well, that is so true. That's so true. When you have, how do you replace an Alford? You can't.
No.
He's all state. This guy's a 4-star recruit, went to Ohio State. You just don't. You're fortunate if you get enough talent to be a 3-star or 2-star to help you on your team. And but here's the thing: kids love playing at Vero Beach High School.
Mm-hmm.
There are kids that are in all these schools now with the open enrollment, like you said. They want to be a part of Lenny Jankowski's program.
Yeah.
It's enthusiasm. The kids that go to college, they see the number of college scouts there on the sidelines during that spring game. We were there there must have been over 24 of these scouts from all over the country there to watch the spring practice and the spring and during the spring. There'll be a lot of recruits that when they're opening up that time where they can go out, you'll see them at Vero Beach High School. The word gets out. The word gets out that, hey, you go to Vero, you're going to get recognized.
Well, I think, yeah, you're right. And I think a perfect example of that, Gary, is, okay, last year, Xavier Stinson, he transfers from a school into Vero Beach High School. Has a very outstanding season. He was the leading receiver. I think he had like 47 receptions on the season and led all receivers. And in the offseason, the announcement comes out, he's got an offer and a verbal commit now to UCLA.
That's unbelievable. And also along with Champ Smith.
Champ Smith, which he already had the offers and he was already there. But, and quite frankly, I was a little surprised that he chose UCLA because everything that I was seeing, I thought he might follow his buddy TJ and go to Ohio State. But hey, that's why it's everybody's own personal decision. But, Xavier Stinson was not on, as far as I could tell last season, was not really on anybody's real radar. And then all of a sudden, because of the season that he has and the exposure, as you said, because there's scouts coming through the office there at Vero Beach High School, all of a sudden, hey, I got an offer. I'm going to take this. I'm going to UCLA after I graduate.
And the word gets around the whole area.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, you've got kids thinking, maybe I should go to Vero Beach in the future.
I might have a shot.
May have a shot.
Yeah.
And again, the exposure, the offense that Vero Beach runs is so much like like college now.
Oh yeah.
They run that spread and they let it go and but people think, well, we throw the ball a lot. No, we actually run the ball a lot too.
Yeah.
We're a balanced team.
More than you and I have to do this too, because from the eye test, you go, oh man, they throw the ball a lot. But when you really look at the numbers, you see how balanced it really is. I mean, Champ Mons threw for over 2,200 yards last year. Well, on the ground game collectively, we had over 1,000 yards. That's pretty balanced.
I loved it. I thought it was great, and we didn't have our star running back.
Right.
We're without our star running back, and
guess
he's
who's back?
Yes, he is.
Jonathan Hillsman. Good to see him back.
Oh my goodness, Paul! He's bigger and stronger, and how do you get faster? But he is. He is. I'm gonna tell you.
There's natural maturity that's going to happen because the last time we saw him, he was a sophomore.
Right.
He had to sit out his entire junior season, rehabbing his knee. And good to see him back. We didn't really get a chance to see him in the spring for obvious reasons. They didn't really want to take a chance with him because it was just spring practice. But now, like you said, you and I have had a chance to go out to the practices. We've been watching, and man, he looks good. You know this way better than I do. But coming back from an injury, the hardest thing is overcoming the mental part of like, can I still do this? Am I going to injure myself again? And you just got to get out there and give it a shot.
Well, and Lenny took it easy on him in the spring practice, put his green jersey on him. I mean, nobody could touch him and at that practice because he wanted him to be ready for his senior year. And I'm going to tell you, I watch him cut. I watch him catch the ball. He blocks. He's strong. He's got the package that a lot of colleges are going to like.
Oh, absolutely. And, and there's some other guys that have transferred in, and truthfully, we're all still trying to get to know them. This is probably the most challenging part of the season for us because we haven't been with these guys at the 7-on-7s or in the camps. So we're still trying to get introduced to a lot of these guys. But I'm just telling you, I've been out to a couple of practices and I watch how the offense is rolling. Now, granted, you're not going against like a true game scenario. So I'm trying to keep that in consideration. But man, these guys are clicking already. And it starts with that quarterback who now will be a sophomore, had an outstanding freshman season in Champ Mons.
Well, that's the thing that amazes me is I still think back he was only a freshman.
I know.
I mean, the reads he made, the balls he threw, the ability to follow his progression, to go from first, second, or third receiver, and his ability to find a hole when he needed to run. And he was the package. I mean, he has had everybody in the country looking at him right now as a quarterback, as only as a freshman. And here he comes in as a sophomore. And I was out there in the spring practice, or the fall. We started our early spring and our early fall practice during the summer, where they throw, against each other, and they run routes and they lift and do stuff like that. His arm is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I look at him and I go, wow, whoever gets this kid is getting one of the smartest, most humble young men you will ever see. He is so grateful, so thankful for everything. He's not cocky. He makes his mistakes. He doesn't get upset at the receivers or anything like that. He makes his mistakes. He'll put and say, that one's on me. And Coach Jankowski has been very patient because there's a freshman, and now teams are going to have a lot of film on him. They're going to do different stunts and blitzes probably, and he's going to have to be aware of what's happening. And if anybody can do it, he can, and so can Coach Jay.
There's the kind of thought process, Gary, that, after, whether you're a rookie in the NFL or college, you get your first year starting and you're coming back for a second season, they'll tend to refer to it as the potential sophomore slump. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, okay, year one, a lot of coaches hadn't seen you. They don't know your tendencies or anything like that. And then they go into year two, they've had time in the offseason to watch, figure out what your tendencies are. So looking at our schedule, and we'll break it down a little bit later, but I see right now we've got 6 teams on the schedule that we played last year. So they are, I guarantee you, they've been studying and going, all right, what's his tendencies? How's Champ going to get himself better so that he doesn't, or I should, maybe the better way to say is, how does he keep those guys guessing?
And that's part of, he has a great relationship with Coach Jankowski. They sit down, the quarterbacks and the coach sit down and study film, constantly studying film. Or he may have a Zoom call with his quarterback at times, say, hey, look, I got something I want to show you. Can you be available at this time? And we'll look at it and study some these plays. He has drafted certain plays for him this year that are unbelievably. I love it. Been to practice. I think it's amazing. He's only a sophomore, and they're putting in a very defense that varies so much to throw the defense or the offenses or our offense to throw the defense off. I got to get this right.
You're knocking off the rust here, my friend.
Yeah, I'm knocking off the rust too. But it is a offense to attack the defense that teams are going to put up against us.
Yeah. Well, here's the key thing. Okay, there's 10 other guys that are part of that offensive unit, and so they all got to work together. And it starts. That front line's got to provide either protection for the passing game, and obviously make holes for the running game. And you got guys like Romeo Vargas, you got Champ Smith, you got Corbin Phillips, guys that were starters a year ago. They're all back, so you've got enough anchors there to build a really good offensive line.
And I tell you what, if you see Vargas and you see Champ, and Champ's already accepted a UCLA offer. And you watch these guys and you watch Corbin at center. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, this is the makings of a very good offensive line. And it's truly really, really good. And I'll tell you what, Bill Mata is not afraid to get up there and challenge our offense. And our offense makes his defense better. Our defense makes our offense better because they know how to go at it, and they allow each other to go very competitive. And Coach Mata wants to run different stunts or blitz this year, and he takes that off on put his on against our offense. So it's fun to watch these two coaches go at each other in practice.
See, I knew it wouldn't take you long. You got midseason form. You got that right. Offense and defense, man. You got it. Man, you look at there. It didn't take long. It took you about 30 seconds to knock that rust off.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome. So we got the offensive line, obviously can provide protection, but then, looking at the skill set, of our offense, all these guys are coming back. And then, of course, we just talked about Jonathan Hillsman back in the backfield, which is great to see him back there. But you got E.J. White, you got Xavier Stinson, you've got Marcus Melbourne, who I'm telling you, watching him in the offseason, he has really taken his game to a new level. Then you've got a guy that played a little bit of offense, mostly played defense last year in Trey Woods, that's going to get a lot more time on offense. And then there's going to be some other guys that are going to fill some roles. I mean, the depth at receiver this year, Gary, is really phenomenal.
It is. And I'm going to tell you right now, you've got kids like Austin Banzap that has been on the team and is wanting to get in there and get a position. And he gets his playing time on that too. I mean, this is a very talented, again, I say this, these receivers, you've got a coach that wants you to perfect your game. And that's what these guys are doing out there. They're learning how to block on screens. Mm-hmm. They're blocking much better, running better routes, running tight routes. And you don't need that big window when you got a kid like Mons to throw the ball to you.
Yes.
He can see it. He's got a quick release.
Yep.
He reads the coverage well, and that ball's out of his hands really quick. That's what the scouts, I'm sure, admire about him. And then you got a defense that under Bill Mata is aggressive. I mean, they're coming at you in different ways.
Right.
When I say ways, I should say waves of different types of plays because they come in with you might see the corner come blitzing in.
Yep.
And you've got that everybody rotates. The guy goes out, a linebacker jumps to the outside, and here comes that corner. Or here comes that outside linebacker. Mm-hmm. Or here comes the middle linebacker walking over and then stunning in. And then it's amazing the number of opportunities that you'll see in a game that Bill Mata picks and chooses his defensive schemes. And he's a good teacher. He teaches you to play the game. He teaches you to be in the right place at the right time. And then they stunt. They utilize their talent when they blitz and they stunt. This is going to be exciting. We got kids on the ends, and Tristan Davis and Bobby Burbick, just the two starters right there, are having a great spring and a great fall so far. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, so a lot of great things happening there with the program, and we're so looking forward to seeing them on the field. And that's actually going to happen this Friday night when they take on Miami Norland in the Kickoff Classic, which, by the way, folks, I want to let you know, there's an interesting development here with the Kickoff Classic this year. Originally, this game was going to be played down at Lawnwood Stadium, which was kind of a shocker to all of us. We're like, we're going to play a preseason game on the road? A long story short is it's moved back to the Citrus Bowl, which we're extremely thankful for a number of reasons. But there's also an added bonus to this. Friday night, Indians are going to play against Miami Norland. Then Saturday, you got a double header coming. Got 4 other teams that are going to take the field. You've got Miami Carroll that's going to take on Tallahassee Lincoln at around 3 o'clock, I believe, 3 or 3:30. Then later, around 7 o'clock, you've got Miami Northwestern taking on Lakeland. That is going to be an interesting ball game. I'm probably going to try to make that one, Gary, because, man, that is unbelievable. But, wow, what a great move by Coach Jay.
Well, again, it was an organization that wanted to play these top games in the area. And Vero Beach has got a tremendous reputation across the state of the, for football. And so does all these other schools coming together. It's a kind of like a football gift to this community because you're getting 6 of the best teams in the state of Florida.
Right.
Not just 1 or 2, but 6 teams in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. We're playing Miami Norland, who's a playoff team every year.
Yep.
And then you've got Lakeland coming to town to play Miami Northwestern. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Lakeland's won a couple state championships in the last 3 years or so.
Yeah.
And so you're wow, I just shake my head at the opportunity. I'm like you. I will be watching Lakeland and Miami Northwestern.
Yeah, I might have to come on Saturday night and check out those ball games for sure. All right, Gary. So as we talked about, Vero Beach will get their season really underway with the Kickoff Classic. Even though it's a preseason game, they're going to take on Miami Norland on Friday night, 7:00 kickoff at the Citrus Bowl. Of course, we'll get things kicked off with our Countdown to Kickoff show at 6:00 on the radio and also on YouTube. But looking at this season, Gary, and the schedule that we've got, man. We've got O'Galley to officially kick off the season here at home. Then we go on the road up to Gainesville to take on Buchholz. We got Cocoa at home, Centennial at home, a bye week in there. Fort Pierce Central on the road. Booker T comes back to the Citrus Bowl again this year. Rockledge at home. We go to Pahokee. We've got Treasure Coast on the road, and then Somerset Academy. Now, as I said before, 8 of these teams were in the playoffs last year, and you've got one defending state champion in Cocoa.
Yeah, here you go. Right off the bat, Miami Norland. What a great kickoff classic that will be. Next week, you play O'Galley, a team that I felt like we got robbed up there in a very close game, and they upset us. And then you got Buchholz, who came to our stadium last year, and in a very close game for a long time, and then the tides turned, and boom, they were able to get a 2-touchdown, and we were never able to make up that ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the defending state champions, Cocoa, coming to our stadium. If you remember a few years back when Cocoa came to our stadium, they won a game in double overtime. They went for 2, and they got it.
They got it. I felt like we got robbed.
We did.
Yeah, but
we did.
But it is what it is. But yeah, Cocoa. I mean, they won last year over Gadsden County, 38-27. Third straight title.
Unbelievable.
For Cocoa.
And again, you talk about because of open enrollment, they got some of the best talent in the country or in the county up there, Brevard County. And they're going to there.
And they're predicting right now, they are the early on favorite to go back and win it again for 2A.
It's a great opportunity for us to that barometer, I call it, early in the season to measure yourself on how well your team's playing against a premier team. Yeah,
and then you got Booker T later in the season, Gary, and and like we were just talking about with Champ Mons, trying to improve himself, and we talked about 6 of the teams that are on this schedule we played last year, and you always have an interesting development when you're playing your district opponents because we know each other. These kids know each other. They've played in a lot of different, sports together, travel ball, and all these different things. And, and you don't know for sure. I mean, this is probably the hardest time of the year to predict anything with any of these teams. Like, have they improved? How so have they improved? Centennial a year ago was a 4-6 team. Fort Pierce Central, 5-6 team, but they were in the playoffs, lost in the first round to Palm Beach Central. Then you got Treasure Coast. And while Treasure Coast's record was not impressive, 3-7, they played probably one of the hardest schedules in the state of Florida. Got into the playoffs, lost to Jupiter in the first round, 27-0. But, again, these guys are going to work hard to put the best team out there on the field. And it's going to be interesting to see how competitive this district schedule will be.
I agree. And I'll say this about Treasure Coast. They play tough schedules.
Yeah.
They get out there and they play. I mean, I may be wrong, but I think they might be opening up with Lakeland or somebody in the middle of the state that's supposed to be really, really good opening game. So it's not like they're playing patsies and stuff. They play tough teams.
True.
They play a tough schedule.
They do, and again, we could go on a whole different podcast about, the whole playoff formulas and all those kind of things and how do you qualify and all that. Because, again, Treasure Coast last year, a 3-7 team, but because their strength of schedule was so strong, That's what carried them ultimately into the playoffs as a 3-7 team. I don't particularly like it that way because I feel like you really should have a more of a winning record, not a losing record. And I think ultimately that's what the state would like to see. But, things are what they are. And, give credit to Coach Jones. And, while he may not have won those games, he did what he had to do and got enough points to get into the playoffs. All right, tip your cap and move on.
Absolutely. And you do. And again, hey, it's what we had to do after the first 3 games last year.
Right.
We tipped our hats to the opponents we played, thanked them, and then what we did is then we went out and we won 8 straight games and lost the close one in the third round of the playoffs. So
yep.
I love a certain amount of good teams we play. I don't think we should play, the give-me's, and I like them in the beginning, not the cupcakes, but the tough ones.
Yeah.
And you playing a Galley who was 10-2 last year.
12-2.
Or 12-2, excuse me. 12-2. Buchholz.
10-4.
10-4. Coco, needless to say.
11-3, but a state
championship.
Yeah.
And then you got Booker T.
10-3.
10-3 down there at the end. Then you got a Pahokee team. That is, I don't care where you're playing down there. Have you ever been to that facility and you're going into an area you talk about hostile, that's a hostile crowd down there in a sense. They love their team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting schedule. It's a challenging schedule. I like it, and it's going to be interesting to see how things are when we come out of the gate on Friday night against Miami Norland. And see how our team performs under the lights. Because really, Gary, in the end, that's what matters most is how do you perform when the pressure's on?
I love it. I know it's a game. It's an exhibition game. But don't tell those kids out there because they've been banging and they'll be banging up against. They've played that same jersey they've looked at for the last month. And they're ready to play a game now.
Oh, yeah.
They're ready to play a game, and they're eager to play a game. The weather's supposed to be nice, and you never know this time of the year.
Yeah, well,
you never know.
That's true.
So I think it's going to be an exciting kickoff classic with Miami Norland, and I'm excited about to see how our young team has matured.
Well, season is here, folks, and we're excited. It gets started on Friday night, kickoff at 7 o'clock. Our coverage will begin at 6 p.m. with countdown to kickoff. Gary Parrish, Paul Tipton, we're always in the press box. Thanks for joining with us here today. We'll see you at the game. Go Indians.
Thanks for joining us inside the press box. For more, go to ChristianFM.com.